Namaskar, good morning. You are watching Rajya Sabha television. I'm Smriti Rastogi with Breakfast News. Let's begin the bulletin with the top headlines. Government effects changes in committees of Union Council. Out of 8 Defence, Minister Rajnath Singh included in 6 cabinet committees. Prime Minister Narendra Modi approves the reconstitution of Niti Aayog. Rajiv Kumar to remain the vice chairman. With emphasis on neighbourhood first policy, Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Maldives and Sri Lanka beginning tomorrow. No bilateral meeting between Prime Minister Modi, his Pakistani counterpart Imran Khan on the sidelines of SCO summit in Kyrgyzstan. Four Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists gunned down in encounter with security forces in Jammu and Kashmir's Pulwama district. Huge cache of weapons recovered. Search operation continues in the area. British Prime Minister Theresa May to officially step down as UK Prime Minister today to serve as caretaker Prime Minister until a new leader is elected. May resigned last month after failing to get a Brexit plan through Parliament. And in Cricket World Cup, Nathan Coulter, Neil and Mitchell Starc shine as defending champions. Australia fight back to beat West Indies by 15 runs. Pakistan to face Sri Lanka in Bristol today. Our top focus this morning: in a major breakthrough, security forces have gunned down 4 Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists in an encounter at Panjran, Lasipura area of Pulwama in South Kashmir. A fierce encounter broken out on Thursday evening after the terrorists opened fire when the forces were conducting a search operation in the area. One terrorist was killed in the initial phase of the gunfight, raged last on Thursday night, while 3 others were killed today morning. Search operation in the area is on. The government has effected changes in the committees of the Union Cabinet and included Defence Minister Rajnath Singh in as many as 6 committees out of 8. Singh will head the Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs. On Wednesday, the government had reconstituted 8 cabinet committees. These are Appointments Committee, Cabinet Committees on Accommodation, Economic Affairs, Parliamentary Affairs, Political Affairs, Security, Investment and Growth and Employment and Skill Development. According to the release issued by the Cabinet Secretariat, Rajnath Singh's name has been included in 4 more committees, which are Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs, Political Affairs, Investment and Growth and Employment and Skill Development. Earlier, Singh was the part of only 2 committees, which are Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs and Cabinet Committee on Security. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday approved reconstitution of policy think tank Niti Aayog. Rajiv Kumar has been renamed its vice chairman. Home Minister Amit Shah has been appointed as ex officio member. Besides Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar will also be the ex officio members. Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari, Commerce and Industry and Railway Minister Piyush Goyal, Social Justice Minister Thawar Chand Gehlot and Statistics Minister Rao Indrajit Singh will be special invitees to the panel. Current members of the panel, V.K. Saraswat, Ramesh Chand and V.K. Paul have also been renamed. In the first session of the 17th Lok Sabha, the new government plans to convert 10 ordinances, including the one to ban the practice of instant triple talaq, into law official sources on Tuesday have informed this. This has been informed on Thursday. The ordinances were issued in February-March this year by the previous government, as these could not be converted into acts of parliament in the last session of the 16th Lok Sabha. Since the Narendra Modi government returned to power in the just held Lok Sabha elections, it has decided to give a fresh push to these proposed laws in the newly constituted Lok Sabha. These ordinances will have to be converted into laws within 45 days of the beginning of the session, else they will lapse. Besides the ordinance on triple talaq, the other ordinances lined up are the Indian Medical Council Amendment Ordinance, the Companies Amendment Ordinance, the Jammu and Kashmir Reservation Amendment Ordinance, among others. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on his first foreign visit to Maldives and Sri Lanka on Saturday after assuming power for the second term. During his two-day visit to both the countries, Prime Minister Modi will hold extensive discussions with presidents of both the nations and Prime Minister of Sri Lanka on how to boost the ties. Here is a look at the Prime Minister's upcoming tour.
In the first leg of his two-nation tour, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit Malé, the capital of Maldives. He will hold summit-level meeting with Maldivian President Ibrahim Mohamed Solih. He will also address Maldives Parliament, known as People's Majlis, and meet former President Mohamed Nasheed.
There will be a meeting with President Solih. The two leaders will jointly inaugurate remotely two of the completed projects that we have done. There will be meetings with the Vice President, Mr. Naseem, the Speaker, Mr. Nasheed, and leaders of some of the political parties. And as you know, the Prime Minister has been invited by the Majlis to address the Majlis, which he will also be doing on the 8th of June.
In Malé, both sides are expected to sign agreements to further consolidate the relationship between the two countries, which got derailed during Abdullah Yassin's presidency. The agreements will aim at providing assistance to Maldives.
The Prime Minister's visit is essentially focused on three objectives. Firstly, it is to maintain contacts at the highest level between close neighbours. Secondly, we want to assist the Maldives as their development partner in the revival and development of their economy. And thirdly, of course, is to strengthen the people-to-people relationship we have with the Maldives.
After Maldives, Prime Minister Modi will reach Sri Lankan capital Colombo on Sunday. There, he will hold a summit meeting with Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and hold talks with President Maithripala Sirisena. The talks are expected to focus on combating terrorism and development issues. He is also scheduled to address a gathering of Indians living in Sri Lanka.
Have talks with President Sirisena, with Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. He will meet the leader of the opposition, Mahinda Rajapaksa, and he will also have meetings with Mr. Sambandhan, who heads the TNA, the Tamil parties. And obviously, although the visit will be short, there will be a review of the relationship and identification of how we move ahead.
Both Maldives and Sri Lanka are immensely important to India's strategic needs in the Indo-Pacific region. During his tour, Prime Minister Modi will renew his commitment towards enhanced support to both these countries.
There are lots of similarities between people of India, Maldives and Sri Lanka, and there are lots of economic interdependencies too. Prime Minister Narendra Modi wants to consolidate on this relationship given the fact that there are favorable governments in both the countries. Akhilesh Soman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person D.K. Pandey in Malé of Maldives.
And ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Sri Lanka, Austin Fernando, the High Commissioner of Sri Lanka in India, spoke exclusively to Rajya Sabha Television. Let's listen in to what he had to say.
I am joined by the High Commissioner of Sri Lanka in India, Mr. Austin Fernando. Welcome to RSTV, sir. Sir, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is going to Colombo. What do you think will be main on agenda?
Sri Lanka and India had been having long-standing relationships with each other in several areas. We have been working together on economic affairs, cultural affairs, security affairs, and like that, and even in media affairs we have been working together as two countries. So these are the issues which will be on the table between any two heads of states who will heads of states or heads of governments who will sit together to discuss. So therefore, since I am in Delhi and I am unable to comment about or predict about the agenda, to be very very firm on it, I must say that between two countries, these are the issues that may have to be discussed. And in the background we have certain events that had preceded. For example, we have the terrorist attack that happened in Colombo and other areas in Sri Lanka, in several areas. So that is very recent, and therefore it will call for attention between the two countries, because you are also affected by terrorist attacks. So there are certain commonalities on this, and for that matter, that particular event had been told to us by the Indian intelligence people, according to all the reportings we received. So therefore, there could be certain areas where they can be working together if they really want to. So that may be one area. And then we had the memorandum of understanding that had been signed some time back, and there were certain items in the agenda for development purposes under Indian assistance. So those are things which I presume any head of state or head of government would like to be followed up when we meet another head of state. So like that we can consider so many things as projections, and I can't tell you exactly what would be, and all what I said may not be there sometimes. That's a matter of concern for those people.
And the External Affairs Ministry also clarified on Thursday that there will be no bilateral meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Pakistani counterpart Imran Khan on the sidelines of SCO Summit. Prime Minister Modi would be attending the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Kyrgyzstan's capital, Bishkek, on June 13th and 14th.
To the best of my knowledge, there is no bilateral meeting being planned between Prime Minister and Prime Minister of Pakistan on the sidelines of the SCO Summit.
And External Affairs Minister S Jhankar will embark on a 2-day visit to Bhutan today. This will be his first overseas trip after assuming charge of the ministry. In Bhutan, the External Affairs Minister is scheduled to call on Bhutanese Prime Minister Lothe Tshering and also meet her counterpart Tandi Dorjo.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S Jhankar will be visiting Bhutan from 7th 8th June 2019. This will be External Affairs Minister's first visit abroad as EAM, and it reflects the importance that India attaches to its bilateral relationship with Bhutan, a close friend and a neighbor. During the visit, Honorable Minister is expected to receive audience with His Majesty the King. He will call on Lönchen Dr. Lothe Tshering, Prime Minister of Bhutan, and also meet his counterpart, Lempo Dr. Tandi Dorji, Foreign Minister of Bhutan. The visit of EAM to Bhutan is in keeping with the tradition of regular exchange of visits and views at the highest level between India and Bhutan.
So on his 2-day visit to Bhutan, External Affairs Minister S Jhankar is scheduled to call upon Bhutanese Prime Minister Lothe Tshering and also meet his counterpart Tandi Dorji. Moving on, government launched the Swachh Surveillation 2020 League in the national capital on Thursday. The league will be a quarterly cleanliness assessment of cities and towns in India and will be integrated with Swachh Surveillation 2020. Parameters pertaining to wastewater treatment and reuse and fecal sludge management have been given special focus in Swachh Surveillation 2020 League.
Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri launched the Swachh Surveillation 2020 League on Thursday. Swachh Surveillation League 2020 will be a quarterly cleanliness assessment of cities and towns in India. It will be integrated with Swachh Surveillation 2020, the 5th edition of the annual Cleanliness Survey of Urban India, to be conducted between January to February 2020. The objective of the Swachh Surveillation Survey is to encourage large-scale citizen participation, ensure sustainability of initiatives taken towards garbage-free and open defecation-free cities, and provide credible outcomes validated by third-party certification. Additionally, the survey also intends to foster a spirit of healthy competition among towns and cities to improve their service delivery to citizens towards creating cleaner cities.
This is a program which was started, as I said, amidst some cynicism. We are not only completing it, but we are taking it to the next level, where wastewater, fecal sludge, and I think we will have to, in a futuristic version of this program, look at how we deal with water, air, and our general system from a sustainability point of view.
In order to pay a tribute to Mahatma Gandhi on his 150th birth anniversary, India has pledged to become open defecation-free and clean by 2nd October 2019. The survey is under the mandate of the Swachh Bharat mission launched on 2nd October 2014. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
And ahead of the World Yoga Day on 21st June, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that doing Vrikshasana or the tree pose properly gives tranquility to minds. The Prime Minister has also posted a short 3D video of him practicing Vrikshasana on social media. Take a look.
वृक्षासन, वृक्ष का अर्थ है पेड़। इस आसन में आपके शरीर की स्थिति एक वृक्ष के समान स्थिर, तनी हुई और मजबूत हो जाती है। सबसे पहले अपने पैरों को परस्पर 2 इंच की दूरी पर रखकर सीधे खड़े हो जाएं। अपनी आंखों के सामने किसी एक बिंदु पर अपना पूरा ध्यान केंद्रित करते हुए एक गहरी लंबी सांस छोड़ते हुए सावधानी से अपने दाएं पैर को मोड़ते हुए धीरे से ऊपर उठाएं और उसके पंजे को अपने बाएं पैर की अंदरूनी जांघ पर रख दें। एक बात का विशेष ध्यान दें कि आपकी एड़ी आपके मूलाधार क्षेत्र से सटी हुई हो। एक बार इस स्थिति में स्थिर हो जाने के बाद एक गहरी सांस लेते हुए धीरे से अपनी बाहों को फैलाएं और उन्हें आहिस्ता से अपने सर के ऊपर ले जाते हुए नमस्कार की मुद्रा में खड़े हो जाएं। इस स्थिति में सामान्य रूप से सांस लें और छोड़ें और 10 से 30 सेकंड तक खड़े रहें। ये आसन मस्तिष्क में संतुलन, स्थिरता और सजगता को बढ़ाता है। वृक्षासन आपकी न्यूरोमस्कुलर कोऑर्डिनेशन को बेहतर बनाता है। इस आसन से पैरों की मांसपेशियां मजबूत होती है। यदि आप गठिया, चक्कर या मोटापे से पीड़ित हों, तो कृपया ये आसन ना करें। 10 से 30 सेकंड तक वृक्षासन में खड़े रहने के बाद सांस छोड़ते हुए धीरे से अपने हाथों को नीचे ले आएं। अब अपने दाएं पैर को आहिस्ते से नीचे रखकर सीधे खड़े हो जाएं। एक गहरी लंबी सांस लें और छोड़ें। और अब पूरे क्रम को अपने बाएं पैर से दोहराएं। वृक्षासन आपके शरीर के साथ साथ आपके दिमाग को भी तंदुरुस्त बनाता है। इस आसन से आपके मस्तिष्क की सजगता बढ़ती है और आप अपने काम को एकाग्रता से करने में सक्षम बनते हैं।
And some more developments this morning. The Reserve Bank of India on Thursday slashed interest rates by 25 basis points for the 3rd time in a row. It also changed its stance from neutral to accommodative. The central bank has cut the GDP growth forecast for 2019-20 from 7.2% in the April policy to 7.0%. The Apex Court also decided to remove charges on RTGS and NEFT transactions.
The RBI Monetary Panel has paved way for a possible reduction in the EMIs of your housing and car loans. In its second bi-monthly monetary policy meet, the RBI reduced repo rate by 0.25% to 5.75%. The repo rate is the rate at which the Reserve Bank of India lends short-term money to the banks. Consequently, the reverse repo rate, the rate at which the central bank borrows money from commercial banks, now stands at 5.5%. It also revised the retail inflation forecast to 3 to 3.1% for the first half of the fiscal 2019-20 and 3.4 to 3.7% for the second half. The Apex Bank also changed its stance from neutral to accommodative, suggesting it stands ready to cut rates further if economic conditions warrant it.
During June 3rd and 4th, 2019, the Monetary Policy Committee assessed the recent macroeconomic developments and the outlook in its meeting today. It voted unanimously to reduce the policy repo rate by 25 basis points. So we had discussions on June 3rd and 4th, and then again we sort of took the decision today, and the decision this time has been unanimous.
The RBI maintained that there was a scope to reinvigorate private investment activity and assured a faster and higher transmission by commercial banks to pass on the benefit of lower interest rates to their customers. Corporate India has hailed RBI's decision.
After you have reposed liquidity and the demand rises and capacity utilization gets fulfilled, automatically more investments will take place.
The RBI has also decided to do away with charges on fund transfers through RTGS and NEFT routes to boost digital transactions. The RTGS is meant for large value fund transfers, while the NEFT system is used for fund transfers up to 2 lakh rupees. The central bank has also announced that it has set up a committee to look into ATM charges and fees, which will submit its recommendations within 2 months of its first meeting. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis on Thursday met Union Home Minister Amit Shah to discuss a range of issues related to the state, including the drought situation. Fadnavis also briefed Shah on the steps taken by the state government to deal with the water shortage. Several parts of the state, particularly the Marathwada region, are facing severe drought conditions, with water levels in reservoirs of Marathwada having dipped drastically. Fadnavis also met Union Health and Family Welfare Minister Harshvardhan and demanded increase in the medical seats in the government colleges in the state after the implementation of 10% quota for economically weaker section students. And Congress President Rahul Gandhi will arrive in Kerala today for a 3-day tour across Wayanad Lok Sabha constituency to thank his voters. This will be his first visit in the constituency after he won the election with a record margin of 4.31 lakh votes. Rahul will also hold road shows in Vandur, Nilambur and Ernad assembly segments of Wayanad constituency today. He will also hold road shows in various towns of Wayanad district on Saturday. Rahul's road show in Thiruvambadi assembly seat will also be held on Sunday morning. At least 17 people, including 6 Indians, were killed in a bus accident in Dubai last week. The bus carrying 31 people was returning from Oman after the Eid holidays overran a traffic signal near the metro station in Dubai on Thursday evening. 5 people are also reported to be critically injured. The Indian consulate in Dubai has confirmed the death of 6 Indians, including 1 woman. However, the number of dead may go up as 8 bodies are still not identified. Some more international developments. British Prime Minister Theresa May will formally resign as the country's Prime Minister today. May had announced her resignation last month, saying it was a matter of deep regret that she had been unable to deliver Brexit. The UK was originally meant to leave the European Union on 29th March, but was first pushed back to 12th of April and eventually to 31st October as May failed to get MPs to approve the Brexit deal. So far, 11 Member of Parliaments from the Conservative Party are in the running to succeed her, with former Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson being the frontrunner. May is likely to stay in office as acting Prime Minister until late July, when her successor is likely to be chosen. May conducted her final public tour as British Prime Minister on Thursday, with a visit to Normandy in France to mark the 75th anniversary of the World War II day landings. And Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that the country was prepared to drop a nuclear weapons agreement treaty with the US. Putin also warned of global catastrophe if Washington keeps dismantling a global arms control regime. Speaking at an event, Putin said that Washington showed no genuine interest in conducting talks on extending the New START treaty, which caps the number of nuclear warheads well below Cold War limits. The treaty was signed by former US President Barack Obama and Russian counterpart Dmitry Medvedev in Prague in 2010. It expires in 2021. The accord limits each country to no more than 1,550 deployed nuclear warheads and 700 deployed missiles and bombers. And now the news from the ICC Cricket World Cup 2019. Defending champions Australia pulled off a 15-run win against West Indies in a tense match at Trent Bridge in Nottingham last night. Chasing 289 for a win, the West Indies could manage 273 for 9 in 50 overs as Australian fast bowler Mitchell Starc restricted the team with his 5-wicket haul. Put into bat first, defending champions Australia were all out on 288 runs. Australia lost 4 quick wickets for just 38 runs in the first 8 overs. But a remarkable fight back by Steve Smith and Nathan Coulter-Neill saved the day. Coulter-Neill unleashed a late onslaught of unbelievable 92 runs off 60 balls, becoming the highest run scorer by a number 8 batsman in the World Cup. Australia now has 2 wins from 2 matches in the tournament. And today, Sri Lanka will play against Pakistan. The match will start at 3 p.m. at Bristol. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Breakfast News. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.